Okay. Can I just say that Haku is currently my favorite member of Diablos right now, next to Celine? Like, seriously. And the showdown between him and Wendy, while a lot of people are already writing it off as, oh, she'll just pull out the power of friendship all of a sudden again, and that'll be that. I gotta say, right now, this fight has been incredibly fun, really cute, and kind of funny because it's the two cutest characters basically in the whole series. I'm also wondering how old Haku actually is. As he meets up with Wendy and Panther Lily, out of the gate, it's just like, yep, I'm Haku from Diablos. I already beat two of you guys. Like, he's got the most cheerful smile imaginable. And when Wendy calls him a kid, he gets all pouty and stuff. It's like, well, you're just a kid too. Which, I mean, yeah, from a certain perspective, Wendy looks like a friggin' 10-year-old almost. But when Wendy just kind of giggles about the fact that she also is a bit on the small side and blushes, Haku is immediately smitten. And again, I just found it really adorable. It's just weirdly adorable to me. And so he asks for her name. She says it's Wendy. He falls even deeper in love and proclaims his love for her. Wendy, of course, is caught off guard. It's just like, but we're enemies. But then Haku just calls her cute again, and Wendy blushes, and she's completely caught off guard. It's adorably disarming that these are two dragon slayers basically. But Wendy, she seriouses up a little bit once she remembers, you took down two of my friends, so if you hurt any of my friends, I'm not gonna let that pass. And Haku tries to play it off. It's just like, well, I didn't really hurt them. I just turned them into plushies. Omitting the fact that he also sicked a plushie golem toy on them as well. And we don't know how well their plushy bodies could hold up to that. And he demonstrates by turning Panther Lily into a plushie. But something I immediately thought about actually comes up. I think I mentioned it in the last review when Haku first, showed that he was going after Wendy next, is that Wendy has the ability to undo curses or undo abnormal status conditions, again, like a white mage in an RPG. So while Haku says he'll only change Panther Lily back if Wendy goes out with him, Irene chimes in, and again, something I've actually really enjoyed is the weird camaraderie between Wendy and Irene, because she's such a negative personality and Wendy's such a positive personality. It's an interesting dynamic. And Irene's just like, oh, well, that's the kind of magic you can easily undo, and Wendy does it, turning Panther Lily back. And Haku, which is just like completely blown away, is just like, whoa, how did you do that? And Wendy's just like, I'm an enchanter, I have the power of healing. And Haku just falls in love with her all over again. So Haku proposes a proposition. If he beats Wendy, she will go out with him. And while initially Wendy is immediately put off, Irene answers for her, saying that's fine by me, much to the shock of both Wendy and Panther Lily. As Irene instigate things even further with Wendy's own mouth, saying, bring it on, ya punk. As Irene just wanted to get the ball rolling, basically. Honestly, she really is Urza's mother. Like, seriously. Her personality is just Urza in a different form. But Irene makes it known that she takes Haku's abilities very seriously, as she takes offense to the thought of him transforming Wendy's body in any way, shape, or form. I don't know how to feel about that. Is Irene and Wendy becoming closer, or is this her motherly affection, or is she just some weirdo? Maybe all of the above. But with both Wendy and Irene being on the same page of taking Haku down, they're able to combine their energies, which immediately takes Panther Lily off guard because he's just like, what the gets that power? And Haku's just like, no, I'm just gonna turn you into plushie and then you'll just lose. And Wendy tells him, status conditions don't work on me. But Haku gives it a try anyway, and Wendy just raises up her magical defenses, completely rejecting Haku's ability right there and then. And he's just like, oh, well, negative status conditions don't actually work on you. It's funny too, because the whole turning you into a toy doll transformation is a thing in most RPGs, and it works pretty much exactly like you're seeing here. It's usually a curse-based ability, and in a lot of situations, you don't get turned back until the enemy is defeated. It's just, I never thought I'd actually see something like that outside of an actual RPG. And so Haku's just like, okay, I'll try something else. But Wendy decides to go in for the attack, saying that if Haku gets knocked out, then she wins. Although Irene wants him to be torn to shreds. And Haku agrees because, I mean, you can't really not agree to that. I'm pretty sure, again, if he's knocked out, then his magic will be undone. So Wendy dishes out a couple of attacks. Sky Dragon's Wave Wind, which Haku actually easily dodges. This kid, when he's actually on the move, is incredibly fast. Although when it comes to Wendy's Sky Dragon's Roar, because it's wind from Wendy's mouth, Haku takes the hit straight on with a thank you, which I'm like, kid, no. You're growing up in the wrong direction. You need to stop. And Irene even tells Wendy, don't use the roar again. And I'm not sure if it's because they're kind of creeped out by him taking that attack head on, or if they just know that it's not really going to work on him. So as Wendy prepares yet another attack, Haku's just like, okay, I guess I should get a little serious. And he brings that weird wolf head mane hood he has on kind of down over his eyes, and he does the cutest motion where he's just like, rah rah, I'm a white tiger. I'm just like, oh my god, that's so cute. And then he just attacks Wendy with supersonic speeds. Kid is fast as all get out. But Wendy and Panther Lily initially aren't able to tell what he did, only for Haku to show that, hey, like Tiger Dragons is really fast as the speed of light. And oh, I'm taking this, holding up a plushie of Irene, which completely caught me off guard because I'm just like, how? And I'm just as in the dark as Wendy and Panther Lily, although Panther Lily's completely taken off guard because she's just like, who the heck is Irene? I don't remember if Panther Lily came in contact with Irene or knows that she was one of the Spriggan 12 and, you know, Urza's mother and stuff along those lines. I really do feel like Wendy should explain that to her at some point. But Haku apparently got the feeling that Wendy was getting advice from someone, even just remotely. And apparently he's even able to change personalities into plushies as well. Which, I mean, it's weird because Irene, despite the fact that she is essentially just a personality within Wendy's mind, she is also a kind of separate entity in existence within Wendy. So, from a manner of speaking, it makes sense that Haku's able to do that, but at the same time, it's just like, it feels like bunk. However, when Wendy tries to undo the negative status condition to Irene, nothing happens. And Haku says that it looks like Wendy's abilities don't work on spirit bodies, which that just raises even more questions. Because, I mean, if Haku's ability can work on a spirit body, why not Wendy's? Would there be adverse side effects like Irene being dissipated because she is an entity born from a spell that Irene did in order to preserve her own existence? Like, it really is a very curious situation. But Haku does warn Wendy that he is one of the Dark Dragon Slayer Knights and he is fairly strong. Smash cut to Laxus and his fight against Kieran, and Laxus looks like he's getting his ass beat. So there's, actually something to the Dark Dragon Slayer Knights. They are nothing to scoff at. But the question still remains, okay, do they run the risk of turning into dragons because of the nature of their ability? Because that was the whole plotline behind why the various different dragons hid within those other dragon slayers in order to keep them from turning into dragons, much like Irene did. Like, I don't remember if the second dragon generation dragon slayers, like Laxus, Eric, and God Serena, had the potential of becoming dragons because of excessive use of their abilities. They didn't have the preventative measures from keeping them from turning into dragons. But it's hard to say. Like, the rules on this, it feels like they kind of played fast and loose with a lot of that. Also find it funny that I guess the Dragon's Cry movie was canon, since we're dealing with a bunch of 5th generation Dragon Slayers and the 4th generation Dragon Slayers were an artificial army. But I always felt like the army would have been created after the 5th generation would have came into being. I don't know, a bunch of semantics. But, I mean, there's a lot of things about how Dragon Slayers work, especially since we keep getting more generations of Dragon Slayers. I just find it interesting because Fairy Tail is one of the few series that actually had some of its filler kind of incorporated into its own canon, with the explanation as to why there's fewer celestial spirit mages in the series, and the whole generation of dragon slayers from the Dragon Cry movie being kind of canonized. I think one of the few things that really got confirmed as non-canon was the Phoenix Priestess movie, which I will say always felt a little bit too dark for a fairy tale movie, honestly speaking, but God, I'm rambling. This was a good chapter. I'm still looking forward to the anime coming out for the 100 Years Quest. Can't wait to see it. I doubt it'll be out next year. If anything, I expect to finally have a trailer by winter next year. That's what I'm thinking. And it'll hopefully be seasonal because, I mean, the manga only comes out every couple of weeks, which is nothing to sneeze at, but even the original anime kind of ran into the issue of catching up when it was going as well. So I say keep it seasonal, pop back in with the quest every once in a while. That way you can keep the animation at its all-time peak. Because, I mean, final season was really good in terms of animation because, the manga had ended by that point. Well, after a certain point. But that's enough rambling from me. Tell me your thoughts on this chapter in the comment section below. If you like this video, do all the YouTube stuff, and I will see you in the next video. Until then, bye-bye.